Thousands of years ago, when night fell, humans could only hide in the darkness and hope no predator would find them. Inside a small cave, Arka wakes up after hearing a branch snap somewhere beyond the dark trees. He grips his wooden spear tightly as two glowing eyes slowly appear in the distance. Arka knew that without light, they would never know what was waiting for them outside. Morning finally came, and Arka and his group left the cave to search for food before night returned. But that afternoon, the sky suddenly darkened as lightning began striking the forest around them. One lightning strike hit a large tree and created something they had never controlled before: fire. Arka watched the fire spread through the trees and realized that no animal dared to approach it. After the fire died down, Arka found a branch with a glowing red ember still burning at its tip. Very carefully, Arka carried the ember back to the cave because he wanted to see if its light could survive the night. That night, the entire group gathered around the fire for the first time and felt warmth they had only known from the sun. But a few hours later, the ember grew smaller until it finally died, and darkness filled the cave once again. From that moment on, Arka began searching for a way to make fire without waiting for nature to give it to them. He tried striking stones, rubbing wood together, and using dry grass, but every attempt ended in failure. His hands became wounded, and his companions began to think his efforts were pointless. But Arka still believed humans could make fire. When winter arrived and their bodies began to shiver inside the cave, Arka knew that failure was no longer an option. He gathered the driest wood, plant fibers, and flammable grass for his final attempt. Arka rubbed the wood rapidly until heat began to build and thin smoke slowly rose from the dry fibers. A tiny red ember appeared through the smoke, leaving Arka speechless as he saw a spark created by his own hands for the first time. Arka gently blew on the ember until suddenly, a small flame appeared before the entire group. No one spoke because they had just witnessed humans create something that nature had once provided on its own. That night, they gathered around the fire and felt its warmth make the darkness around them seem much smaller. When a predator approached the cave, the fire stopped the animal in its tracks before it finally fled back into the forest. For the first time, humans had a simple way to push back the darkness, cold, and some of the dangers that had always threatened them. They soon learned to cook food over the fire and discovered that something so simple could completely change the way they survived. The knowledge of fire began to pass to the children, who learned how to keep the embers from ever truly dying. When the group moved to a new place, they carried the embers with them as if they were carrying their most precious treasure. Arka never knew that this small discovery would one day help humans create tools, work with metal, and build civilizations. Thousands of years later, Arka's name may have disappeared from human memory, but the fire he learned to preserve still burns across the world. Because perhaps civilization did not begin with a great city, but with a human who first learned to push back the darkness with a single small fire.